community already kind of holds school safety at a really high regard. We had a school shooting here in 1986, and but there's still a lot of people in town that were there that day. And so school safety is always kind of on the forefront of people's minds, which has helped me. But more importantly, building relationships in town has been a huge help. Early on, when I started the school resource officer position, the schools asked me to take a look at their emergency action plan and make recommendations to improve it. I reached out to the disaster emergency services coordinator, Steve Fanning, here in town and said, "Hey, can you help me out with this?" And, I was able to co-op with him and make some, meaningful improvements and recommendations for that change. Fast forward sometime later, now I'm asked to look at, the physical security of schools and make recommendations on how to make them safer. I reached back out to Steve and I said, "Hey, do you know anybody who's an expert in this stuff?" Fortunately, he had just returned from a training where he met Albert Mendoza from the Department of Homeland Security, specifically their cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency. And he was actually able to come to Lewistown, do site surveys on all the schools. But more importantly, even bigger, he broadened my view, my perception of what makes a school safe and secure. And that included, more robust background checks of staff, or even, something I never thought of is background checks on vendors who, frequently have access to the buildings. Around the country, we've seen a huge increase in anxiety, depression rates among youth. We're not different here. We can make sure, do our best to help kids feel safe, secure, and comfortable in school. We can start relying on them to handle and solve a lot of the smaller school safety issues and help other students with those issues. That frees us up to start thinking about the harshest of concerns in school safety. The landscape has changed a lot in the last 10, 15 years in that social media and instant messages, texting has made things a lot different for kids. Throughout the 20th century, if a kid was being bullied, a student was being bullied, they would be able to, at some point in the day, remove themselves from that. But now with social media and instant messaging, everybody's always within reach of one another. And you can say, "Oh, kids can just block them." No, they make fake accounts, they proxy numbers. And so everybody's always within reach. I think it's increasingly important that we teach students resilience, for one, but also, help guide them through these interactions to mitigate as much harm as we can. I'm hopeful that there will be a shift to more proactive approaches to mental health. I'd like to see greater emphasis on support systems and positive relationships with, the community, and a sense of community is more central to kind of the school experience. I would like to see a greater SRO presence throughout the state. I, along with, Tim Dahl from Billings and Lori Welsh from Hardin, Scott Finicum from Helena, Cole Waltler in Stillwater County, and Dan Mayland in Gallatin, we started the Montana Association of School Resource Officers. A big part of that was to bring more trainings to the state. But through this process, we found that there's only about 80 SROs throughout the entire state. I'm the only SRO in Lewistown, which means it's me and about 1,000 students. I would love to have another SRO here in Lewistown with me to increase the amount of positive interactions we can have with students. And I think that's true across the entire state. To be the most effective SRO starts by making it your own. Figuring out what you're concerned with, what brings you energy, will make sure that what you are doing is more effective. My advice in that is, you don't know what you don't know, and don't be afraid to reach out if you don't know the answers. 33% of the job is enforcing the law. 33% of the job is teaching. whether it be safety or Fourth Amendment rights or how to deal with police interactions, that sort of thing. And 33% is informal counseling. Really, the power of our position comes with those last two. You know, teaching is kind of the gateway to change. What do we teach? We get more face-to-face interaction with students. And it shows them that, we do exist, we are here, we're approachable. And that starts to build the relationship a little bit where the students will feel comfortable coming to you. And the 33% of informal counseling, that's where we're able to really dig in with students, figure out what are you guys going through right now? What are the issues of our students and what changes they see could have a positive impact on student safety, crime prevention, crime intervention. And that's really where the power of a position comes from, is that informal counseling.